So one question I get asked a lot is how we do the like double jump or the super high jumps in our speed runs. And I want to kind of try and explain that to you guys as best I could, because it's kind of difficult to explain. Honestly, it's all about timing, and it can be a little bit difficult to actually learn. So it's worth noting that I don't use default controls for controller. As you can see here, my controller layout, I swapped, I believe the default attack button is X. I swapped that to slow. And slow, I believe, the default is like RB or R1. I believe everything else is the same, so I basically swapped slow and attack because I prefer the Dark Souls style controls. But there are two ways you can do it. You can do it with block, and you can do it with force abilities. And we call it a target lock jump is the term that is referred to in the speedrunning community. Because you need a target in order to do it. You can't do it without a target. And the most important thing is that you need to be standing completely still when you do it. So you're jumping, basically how it works is you're jumping, and then it's kind of like at the height of your jump, you're going to press block or slow. So I'm going to try and do this here. Doing it with block, I have a high risk. We generally use slow here because we have a high risk of blocking one of their blaster bolts and killing them, these stormtroopers. So it's not a good idea to use block here in this particular spot. But since on Bracca we are jumping on top of these train cars basically and skipping like everything, we're using target lock jumps heavily here. I think let's jump down here, and there are stormtroopers in here that I can use a block target lock jump. And the timing is a little bit different. For slow, you press slow a little bit later. And for block, it's a little bit sooner. It's very difficult to actually like explain. And this is worth noting that your frame rate impacts how high you can jump. So I'll show you that in a second. This is a block target lock jump. This is slow target lock jump. You can see my button inputs on my controller, and when I press them at the wrong times and when I press them at the right times, and how it works. So now with the keyboard, I can't guarantee how well this is going to work because I'm not very good with the keyboard. It's the same concept. My slow is 1, jump spacebar. It's just a matter of like muscle memory, and I don't have very good muscle memory when it comes to the keyboard. So I can do it, but I'm just not, I'm not as good with it as I am at the controller. So there's your force target lock jump, or we refer to these as the TLJ. And I'll try and do a block one. There's a block one. It's not that bad. I don't like to. I like to play with the controller. And again, you need a target, and you have to be standing perfectly still. Looks like I'm getting decent at it. Once you know the timing on when to slow or block, it's pretty easy. Obviously these guys aren't attacking me, so it's a lot easier in situations like this, but when you're getting like bombarded by stormtroopers shooting or trying to melee you, it's a little bit more difficult. And getting stuck in animations, like blocking animations, like makes it harder because like I can't do it really well. Like if I get stuck and then he kind of just like moving and jumping forward, all of these things are things that you learn to get used to after doing it for a while. So like if you get stuck in a blocking animation, like you can dodge to cancel it, or a slow animation, like dodging always will cancel your animation. So like block, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything with target lock jumping or TLJs, but this is like the staple of our speed run, and it's something I found really cool when I first started speed running. And I'm sure you guys wonder how we do it, but that's it. It just takes a little bit of practice. Oh, let me actually show you guys with frame rates. So I'm on 120. Let's put it on 60 to simulate console FPS. So on 60, I think you can still get as high. You can't once you drop down to 30, it's like really difficult. The timings are a little bit different. Not so much. 60 isn't hugely noticeable for me, honestly. I can still do it, but it's definitely, they vary based on your frame rate. Like I'll drop down to 30. And it's extremely difficult to do on 30 FPS. Very hard. And you certainly cannot get as high. I'm not sure exactly when the timing even actually is, because the way the game, there's so few frames that it's very difficult to do. I have no idea. So if you're playing on a console with 30 FPS lock, an old PS4 or an Xbox or whatever, you're gonna struggle with this. But 60 and higher FPS, no problem. So that's basically all of Bracca. Excuse me. Once you get to the train, we're going along these roofs and skipping all the train cars and the tutorial and stuff, and then when we get here, I'd put this back on 120, so I like to play at, and then I'm going to TLJ up onto this thing. We come across this roof, avoid a little climbing section, jump here. Again, we're going to do another TLJ to avoid a crawl space in here, save some time. Come across this roof. And then we have the ship sequence where we run across this, dodge the bolts, do a little climbing sequence, another climbing sequence, one final TLJ, and then into the cutscene where we slide down the train and grab onto the Mantis. That's pretty much it for all of Bracca. Bracca is a bunch of TLJs once we get to the train. And before that, it's all platforming. But I felt that this is the most important place where you can... It's really important that you know how to TLJ. And it was like the best place for me to actually exhibit it. But it's used heavily throughout our speedruns. So if you found this video helpful, feel free to drop me a like. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments section below. And if you enjoy my content, don't hesitate to subscribe for more tutorials, speedruns, and glitch exhibitions. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.